Hi, and welcome back to the Unrehearsed Podcast. It is just me today in the studio. Our poor Taj is super sick. She is not feeling well. So please send her those healing and healthy vibes. I'm so sad that she's not here for our 10th milestone episode, guys. We have made it to 10. I am super excited to be announcing a very small announcement. I'm not going to give you guys too much information just yet, but save the date for January 3rd. We are hosting our very first in-person, the Unrehearsed Podcast meetup. Super low key, not anything fancy, just a moment to connect with you guys face to face and do some really fun stuff. And again, I'm not going to be sharing too much of the details just yet, but it is coming. Save the date. Right in the new year, we're starting out fresh and ready to go. I'm really excited to be able to put this together for you guys and for me. And let's be honest, and for me. Being that this is our 10th episode, I was just kind of reflecting on all of the stuff that it took for me to get here. It has been a wild ride. We started, I want to say, thinking about this podcast back in February, March-ish. The little seed was planted and it has now grown so big in this last, the rest of the year. I can't believe we're already in December. I can believe it because it's absolutely freezing and I'm wearing like 15 layers. But we have made it to the end of the year and we have also made it to our milestone 10. And I am so excited. Still kind of in shock, very much in awe that we have made it this far. And that we have come so far. I feel like when I look back and I think about like our very first episode, I might be posting these clips because this is our 10th episode and I'm feeling a little nostalgic, but I am literally in my seat telling everybody like, I'm sweating. Like I'm like getting the sweats right now. I can't. I'm like so nervous. I can't do this. And I was so stumbly and mumbly. And it's just crazy to look back at those very early on episodes and then look at this episode now and just being like, damn, we have come so far and so much has happened and such a gigantic learning curve. There's so much that needed to be learned and just grateful for all of the people who have guided me along the way, who have given me advice, who have told me things that could help, things that, hey, try this, hey, try that. It has been, I have not done it alone. But I have put in the work and I'm really excited that we have made it to this episode. In just kind of thinking about the last 10 months, the last 10 months, I just kind of started thinking about all the things that progressed, all the things that I've learned, all the things that have just kind of come up in this last 9-10 months of just how much needed to happen, how many points of like growing pains, like all of that stuff. It's been crazy. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about just everything that's happened, all of the things that have happened to get to this point, because, we were talking about how, it's going to be our 10th episode and how, how far we've come. And they said to me, I'm so inspired by you. And I just remember being like, what? Like, inspired by me? Like, what do you mean? And I feel like I have grown so much in this last like 9-10 months. I feel like there's so many different things, different aspects that may have been in me before, just kind of buried under all of this like other stuff, where it's just, you don't realize it until you're kind of put under the fire and things start to kind of boil and things start to kind of shake out. And you're just like, oh, like this is so much like that I didn't know about myself, so much that I have built and that I have kind of like, had taken the time to like develop. And throughout this process, I've been able to kind of see all of those things kind of come to fruition, all of those things that have been buried, but have been kind of building slowly over time. And I just I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I feel like there's a lot of do it scared. There's a lot of do it imperfect, do it unready, do it even though you don't have it all figured out. I think that was a gigantic learning lesson for me this year, was just being able to say, this is what I want, this is where I want to go, this is what I want to do. And even though I'm absolutely scared shitless, I'm terrified, I don't know how this is going to turn out, I have a huge perfectionist complex where I feel like everything that I do, everything that I need to put together needs to be absolutely perfect. And in this last year, I have come so far in that mindset of it doesn't need to be that way. It doesn't need to be perfect at the beginning or even ever. I feel like if that stops you, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing your dream a disservice. You're doing your goal a disservice, because once you start letting that get into the way of your progress, you're no longer progressing. You're stopping yourself. You're stopping your momentum, and you're not moving forward. And I feel like that was a huge learning lesson. And this podcast has been just the biggest trial and error ever. I feel like so many things that we've, have tried, and different, things that just didn't work, or, that just, you expected to plan, you planned it a certain way and it just didn't plan out that way, or it didn't work out that way, or it just didn't kind of flow as well as you thought it would. But charging forward is just the most empowering thing ever, is just being able to say I'm going to do this consistently, regardless of what it looks like. And just being able to trust yourself and have that courage of regardless of what happens, regardless of how this turns out, I did it consistently. And it was all steps towards my progress. It was all steps towards something bigger, because otherwise I would be back in March, February-ish, still thinking about my dream, my podcast, my this, my that, all these things that had been rolling around in my head, and I just didn't take the step for. So there was absolutely a lot of doing it scared, and doing it just being able to let go of that, it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to happen. It just needs to happen, or else I'm going to be stuck, and I don't want to be stuck anymore. So that was, I feel one of the biggest, I want to say hurdles. It was a big hurdle to be able to let go of that, and being able to just kind of move forward regardless of, what that little voice in the back of my head was telling me. And with that, I feel honesty and vulnerability. I want to use vulnerability, because those two things have just been the absolute bedrock of the Unrehearsed Podcast. We don't come most of the time with any ideas of how we're going to explain or talk, or what we're going to say, or we pretty much just have an idea, this is what we're going to talk about today, and we just kind of flow with it. And being able to open our hearts and just speak, especially to our friends and to you guys, and being able to just be this is real life, this is how people feel, this is how people, interpret things, this is how, this affects people. That sort of honesty and vulnerability has been so instrumental in the authenticity of this podcast. I think that in the world of Instagram and over polished and over perfect everything's, and I hope to God that your lives are really like that on my feed. I see all kinds of beautiful, amazing things, and everything looks so perfect and in place. And I hope to God that is really truly your life. But that's just not the case for me. And I feel like it's not the case for most people. And being able to share that it's okay for us to have imperfect lives that are messy and chaotic and like all of these, hard feelings sometimes, hard things, hard conversations that we have here on the podcast. That to me was always kind of the foundation of this project, and just being able to have a platform for that and being able to connect with people over it. And I feel like that has been my mission from the start, and it has been even more growing like wildfire. It's just been really overpowering my heart and my soul of just being like, this is really what I want to lean into, is just being able to be honest and open with everybody, and being able to and I used to be so nervous of like, oh my God, what if someone sees it? What if someone watches my podcast? What if someone hears me say this? Or what if they don't agree with me, or they don't whatever, or maybe they're going to judge me, or maybe they're going to say whatever. And now I feel like I'm like, give me a megaphone, I'll say it again to your face. Like I truly believe what I'm saying on this podcast. And I feel like that gives me such a power. It gives me that courage that I need of like, I will die on this hill. Like I will absolutely die on this hill because I feel it so deeply. And I know that other people out there feel their opinions deeply too. And being able to kind of come to a place where people can have that conversation, where people can be open about conversations, and being able to connect over that has just been such a beautiful thing. This podcast has connected me with so many different people. And it's been a road that I never thought I would be walking, to be honest. But as we're doing it, it's special. It's a really special. Every time that something happens, every time that I say something that really resonates with people, it just absolutely blows my mind how many people feel the same way. Because the world can feel like a lonely place, and this is the place to not feel that. And I think that also kind of leads into like, this is so cheesy. It's just like the best moments are unrehearsed, and they teach you a lot. It's like the times where we had the absolute most fun on the episodes, or like on the podcast, has always been just like off the cuff randomness. My favorite moments are like the bloopers, and you guys haven't heard those things, and maybe like I will be starting to clip those things, especially now that we're heading into our 10th episode, is clipping those like behind the scenes little blooper moments, and it's just the funniest shit. It's just like being so like off the cuff and fun, and just like connecting, and just like without judgment, and it's just all. It's the unrehearsed part of life. It's the part that like is the sweetest. And I feel like, and then not just in this podcast, not just in what you do, but just in life in general, I feel like the things that aren't planned are always the funnest, are always the sweetest, are always the things that you remember the most. And I feel like this podcast has been absolutely that. It's just been moment in moment of like, each episode will teach me something new. Each episode will connect me in a way I didn't expect. And I feel like, wow, like I didn't anticipate that coming out of my mouth. Like I didn't think that I could feel that way, or I didn't think that that's how, when I put it into words, like, oh wow, like this really did come out in a way that like I shocked myself. Like I shock myself sometimes, where I'm just like, oh wow, it's almost like a journal. It's almost like a journal, like a very reflective journal, where it's just like you're seeing these things and you're saying these things, and you feel them and you believe them, but until you actually put them into words, I feel like it doesn't actually hit you. And I think that a lot of those moments always stem from something that's just like so natural, and it's so deeply ingrained in you that when it comes out, it's just that natural. I feel like that's the part that makes it special, and that's the part that makes it honest, and that makes it vulnerable, is just being able to speak, being able to connect on that very basic level. I think this one's a little. I think that my biggest lesson throughout this 10 episodes has been that it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go and to change direction and to pivot. I feel like I used to have a boss. I'm gonna go on a little tangent. I used to have a boss and I hate it. Like, I didn't hate this boss. It just was, he wasn't my favorite. He wasn't my favorite boss. But when we would brainstorm, we had a problem. Like, if we had an issue or something that we were trying to like work on, or let's try this out and see how it goes, kind of a thing. He would say that. He would say, let's come up with a plan. And if we try it for a month and it doesn't work, then, we scrap it. And then we try something new. And I just remember thinking, like, way back then, I used to be like, how stupid. Like, how stupid. Like, wouldn't you want to plan and like double, triple, quadruple check that this is going to be a good system? Like, why would you implement it? Why would you do all of this work and all of this like planning and all of this, change and all of these things just for it to not work out and then, have to start from scratch? And I used to hate it because I used to be like, ugh, like what a waste, like what an absolute waste. And now I get it. Now it finally has clicked into my brain where it's just like, you try it, you fail, it doesn't work, and you move, you shift, you maneuver, you mold, you change. And I feel like that has been such a lesson for me, is just not being so stuck in my ways, not being so stuck in my plan, not being so stuck in how things should be or how things should have worked, or, being able to just let go and roll with it and flow with it and try new things. And, it may be bumpy and it may not be exactly how you thought it would, but again, it's that forward progress. It's that intentional movement of like, this didn't work out. I see why it didn't work out. Let's try something new. Let's move on. Let's keep flowing, and let's keep getting those ideas, and let's keep growing and in our mindset and in our plan. And I think that was I feel like one of my biggest lessons, was just being able to sit here alone with you guys and just say, we're pivoting, we're changing, we're trying something new, and not being scared. I think that was such a huge like fear moment, I feel like, of like, what if it doesn't work out? Like, what if it doesn't work out? And like, what are we going to do from then? And my old self would have been like, bye-bye. Like, washing my hands of this never happened. Like, but instead of being able to say like, you know what, you've researched this editing program for 15 hours and you thought that this was a great program, but it actually is shit. So now we're going to move on to a different one, and not being able, like, not letting that freeze me and my progress, and just being like, screw it, let's try something else. Like, there's so many things out there. There's so many ways to change and to move around and to grow and to take this as a learning lesson and move forward. I feel like that was a huge lesson for me in this process. I don't know how many times like I've had a program crash, or I've had a light not work, or I've had something that just did not work out. A plan, a schedule, a this, or that. It's so many, especially I feel like there's, especially when you're like planning and like this, it's a huge project and there's multiple facets of it and you have all these different things that need to happen. There are so many bumps that you can like come across, so many things that like will stop you. And I feel like the biggest growth that I've seen in these last 10 episodes was that now I see those moments, those things, those hurdles, those like big stops And I'm just like, fuck it. Like, keep on going. And I think that does tie into like the consistency of like, regardless of what happens, however this happens, I'm going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on going because I've dedicated myself. I'm going to keep on going because this is like my project. This is my dream. This is my little seed, right? And I'm not going to let it die because, you know, like I have to walk 10 extra feet to go get water, right? So that has been a lot. I feel like there's so many different things that have happened in these last like 10 months of just moments of growth, moments of like, of just awe-inspiring moments of just like, damn, we have made it so far from where I had started. And you know what? I think I am going to like, I'm riling myself up to post those like super beginning behind the scenes moments, because I feel like if I'm going to look back at this episode and I'm going to edit it and I'm going to say, damn, I have really come so far. Damn, we have really moved so far from like the very beginning of this, where I had a shitty camera that didn't really exactly work and like that would cut me off, or like that had, you know, different weird stuff that needed to happen, or I would have to like, you know, strap a phone with a hair tie and like balance it on some like random box to get it to work. You know, it's like those little things of like, those really hard moments where you're just like, shit, this isn't going to work. Like, shit, this isn't how I planned it to be. Like, damn, this isn't as easy as I thought it was. And being able to just look back at that and just kind of laugh and just be like, yeah, those were the really special, those are really special moments. Those are really important milestone moments, those little stepping stones, those little, you know, like hurdles that like made episode 10 mean so much. So yeah, I'm really excited, guys. This has been a really long and exciting road. But I think that the biggest thing that I've learned, I mean, all of these things have been absolutely monumental and have changed me in so many different ways, but the thing that I really have learned is just that I'm just getting started. I'm just getting started. This is just the beginning. I have so many more ideas, so many more giant, big ideas of things that I want to do and I want to take us to. It fills me with a lot of excitement. It absolutely fills me with fear and nervousness, but, like I said at the beginning, doing it scared, doing it imperfect, doing it nervous, and just saying, fuck all that. We're still going to do it. I think that is the essence of the Unrehearsed Podcast. And just the direction in which we are going. It's going to be big, and I don't feel like anything is going to stop me. So I, again, am just so, and I say this every episode, I think you guys are so sick of me saying this, but I am so grateful, again, to all of we are a very small community. I am a very small creator, but our community is strong. I have some seriously down bad for this podcast fans. And I'm really just happy to have you all here to listen to us week after week, and to make us who we are, and to, give us that little boost of confidence, because it is really nice to have that little boost of confidence from everybody. But it's just, again, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. I think I would be really stupid to not be able to not just take this opportunity to just stop and say, we made it to 10. Acknowledge the journey. Be grateful for those moments. Be grateful for all of the things that have happened, all of the lessons that I've have learned either the hard way or, just revelations of things that have just popped into my brain of like, for that reflective. But yeah, we've got a long way to go, guys, and we're gonna keep on chugging along. I hope that Tajma is doing better. I know that she's listening to this episode. Mwah, I love you so much. I hope you're feeling better, and I hope that you're gonna be here next episode. But I will for sure be here, and I will absolutely be catching you in the next one. Mwah! I love you all. We'll see you next week. Bye.